Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wyld. Today we are talking about I got scammed on DeliverThat. Here's what happened. So one of the platforms that I'm actively working on is with a company called DeliverThat. And while I do not necessarily believe that they themselves scammed me, it did bring a light of a consistent issue that has been taking place that is inhibiting their ability to grow as a company and drivers from actually completing orders on the platform. And I feel like this is something that needs to be addressed sooner rather than later. And drivers need to know about it to protect themselves. So in this video, we are talking about how I got scammed on the DeliverThat platform, what they are saying versus how it actually is, and everything in between. But before we do that, let's go over a quick disclaimer. The content of this video does not contain and is never intended to be legal, business, financial, tax, or health advice of any kind. This video is for entertainment purposes only. It is advised that you conduct your own research and consult qualified professionals before applying anything you find online. I also want to be clear that everything that we're going to be going over is very market dependent and case by case, and what applies to me in my market may not apply to you. So with that said, let's get started. Understanding the platform. As many of you know who have been following me for a while, DeliverThat is one of the many companies that ezCater sends their orders through. And yes, it is a big source of their income, but it's not the only source of their income. They've also been growing their direct partnerships for a long period of time now, and their direct partnerships are treated differently in terms of how we get paid, as opposed to the normal ezCater orders. You see, with direct partnerships, the payout grows based on the size of the order, not just the tip attached to it. It used to be this way with ezCater, but they ended up changing that when their tip pooling system changed. And they changed how people got paid. Now you just get 100% of the tip and a $5 base rate plus whatever mileage goes onto it. Not all partnerships are created equal though, because some pay out handsomely for a minimal amount of work, while some play stupid games and even pay absolute crap. How I got scammed. One of the companies that DeliverThat partnered with is a fast food chain known as Pollo Tropical. They serve a lot of food for a really affordable price, which is great for the person buying it, but not the person delivering it. If you're going to accept orders from Pollo Tropical on DeliverThat, make sure they're worth your time, since some of them are displaying payouts that are less than $10. And I'm being generous with my choice of words. Which brings me to the orders that I was receiving. One was paying almost $50 and one was paying over $70. So it should have been $120 for two orders, right? Amazing payout, and I'm always excited to have orders with quality payouts of that nature. Now, the problem wasn't so much with the orders themselves. In fact, I couldn't even complete them. The first order ended up canceling on me 45 minutes before I had to pick it up. And the second one changed all their information multiple times until they ended up canceling it just under 3 hours beforehand. And because it's not within that 2-hour time frame, I only got one cancellation fee from those two orders. So all of that for $25. Why this is worse now. Now, it isn't so bad if you have these cancellations during a time when they still gave you full pay for those orders. Even if the partner screwed around with orders like this, the reality is they screwed you out of full pay and now they only paid you $25 when they cancel an order. Also, when it happens last minute like this, a driver that blocked out like an hour or so of their day to make sure they get to the restaurant on time and properly route themselves between orders, make sure they have enough time to bag and set up everything, and even had to have rejected other quality orders in the process of being able to fulfill that one, only for them to cancel it on you at the very last minute. So you have to hope that another order comes your way at the last minute that best suits your time frames. Otherwise, you just lost money. I myself have had to accept orders during those times that ended up paying less money and had more miles associated with those deliveries, so I didn't lose money from their shitty behavior. Accountability and partnerships. One of the challenges that I'm noticing here is how restaurants are basically screwing with the platforms as well as gig workers. Because the reality is that it's not likely that the customer just decided at the last minute to cancel. It's more likely that the restaurant just gave the order to their own people. It's not unheard of that a restaurant uses their own driver or even has one of their bartenders handle the order so they can keep the high tips. But if you send it into the system, have somebody schedule out for it, and then have a driver assigned to it for an extensive period of time. This was assigned the day before. Then just let the driver complete the order and have their money, not to screw with the driver and their schedule and their time and their money because of it. Also, if they keep changing the value of the order to the best suit themselves, they're more likely trying to reduce the cut from the driver and the platform by reporting the customer had less items. That is something that I was noticing, is that they were changing the value of the order over and over again. Not to mention the overall time frame. This was one of the scams I found out that Anthony's Coal-Fired Pizza was actually conducting when they would tell DoorDash that they were only delivering 3 pizzas when it was really like 30 pizzas, 30 wings, and garlic knots. I don't remember the full story that went behind that because it was years ago, but if you want to learn more about that as well as 2 other scams that were taking place on the DoorDash platform by companies like Anthony's Coal-Fired Pizza and Papa John's, I will leave a video talking all about that in the description. Feel free to check that out. How this affects bonus programs on DeliverThat. One of the bonus programs on DeliverThat is where you get paid extra for orders you complete during each quarter. And keep in mind, this took place at the end of June, so this is crunch time. And while they made it harder for us to reach those heights, the point is that you can earn extra cash without having to lose money on each order. This was a nice way to help committed drivers feel appreciated for their work on the platform, but not if you plan on completing those orders and they won't even give you the orders you need to reach those higher numbers because they keep getting canceled on you last minute. It is one thing if it was EasyCater because they are one of the many companies they outsource to, but Pollo Tropical is a direct partnership with DeliverThat. They need to be more responsible and hold them accountable for when they pull this crap. The importance of diversifying your gig portfolio. Like I said, this really affected my income on the days in which it took place, but that is why it is important to diversify your gig portfolio. I was able to snag offers, not because of DeliverThat, but because of Skipcart and one of the local DSP companies I work with, which is Time to Eat SoFlo or Streetlions. It was a little more effort and I had to complete other orders, but it was vital for my income that week. Also, make sure you're developing an exit strategy because the gig economy is an income bridge to what would be a long-term goal and not the goal. This is why I started carrying a business card to build up my own business and set up my own clientele. I don't want to rely on a company that treats my income like that. Also, it is important to note that you need to be part of communities that help build up each other and talk about this stuff so that way they're just as protected and just as knowledgeable of when these things take place. That is what I'm doing with the Driven Wyld Discord server. If you haven't joined that yet, the link is going to be in the description. Feel free to join there. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure you hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time.